This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com. Okay, we're here in Munkatch, or Minchas, by the Kvarim of all the Heilige Rebbes and Rabbanim here in Munkatch. And we're starting here. We're starting here at the Kever of the Minchas Eluzar. Rabbi Chaim Eluzar Shapiro was nifter in 1937. In the Sharblad of his Sefer, it says Hagoyin HaKadosh Sar HaTorah Mekubal Elaki, which he was all of the above. And we're going to begin by reading the Nusach HaMatzeva, which interestingly, it says on the Matzeva that he left over what it should say on the Matzeva. And we're going to point out something interesting. Here we have the first thing it says, Harav HaMaforsam Lama Torah Mitoch Yisurim. The Goyin writes, the Vilna Goyin says, that Elmole Yisurim lo Yimotzinu Yadein Ragleinu beBezdin Shomala. So he learned Torah Mitoch Yisurim Noiraim, and as we know, he was loichem for every minhag Yisrael and every halacha, and especially in those times in Hungary where there were a lot of inroads to try to go in the way of modernity. The Minchas Eluzar, following his predecessors, which his father was a Darkei Tshuva. By the way, interesting to note, the Minchas Eluzar finished off the Darkei Tshuva on Hilchos Nida and Hilchos Mikvos. He wrote the end of Hilchos Nida and Hilchos Mikvos. He had a voice, a very emotional voice. Anyone who heard his voice would break down, and he would traditionally be daven for the Amud, Shavs and Brachim Rosh Chodesh Elul. And when he would say Rosh Chodesh Elul Yeh B'Yom Ploini, everybody shook. And he actually had an innovative nusach for Rosh Chodesh benching on Shabbos Elul. He would say, Yichad Shehu. He said, Ulerfua Shalaima. And then he would be Moisef. Ulechuva Shalaima. Ulegura Kroiva V'noimer Omein. And everyone would break down hearing these words from the Minchas Eluzar. He was a tremendous Baal Tzedakah. He would go on a trip, and on his way back, he had no money to return. He would have to borrow money to return because he gave away all of his money. He wrote this in his tzava. He said, I'm not telling you this to be mispair. I'm saying this because this is the derech of Munkatch, to give away beyond one's means. Because when you give away to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children, the Lo Ro'isi Nez of the Rebbe Shalom takes care of you. So he wrote Shas Ritzus Minchas Eluzar. He wrote Divrei Torah, famous Divrei Torah, I believe 9 Chalakim, Divrei Torah. He wrote Shar Yisachar, which is following the pattern of his predecessor, the Bnei Yisachar, on the Zmani Hashana. He wrote Chaim V'Sholom. He wrote Nimukei Orachayim. He wrote Chomesh Ma'amoros. So, just to, first of all, we have a picture over here, coming out of his carriage. I believe this was by the wedding of his only daughter to his son-in-law, Rav Rabinowitz, I believe. What? Rav Baruch Rabinowitz. Okay, it's available. And the Minchas Eluzar often quotes Rav Tzvi Hirsch of Zidichov. So one thing he quotes Rav Tzvi Hirsch of Zidichov is that Rav Tzvi Hirsch was in Lvov. You ever hear of the city of Lvov? He went there and he was very ill. He was a goyseis. And in his gesisa, he commanded to give money to the tzedakah of Rav Meir Balanes. So they asked, well, what's up with Rav Meir? The pshat is, Rav Meir is choshesh for the miyot. The Gemara says, Roiv goysesim lamisa. But Rav Meir is choshesh for the miyot, so if we give to Rav Meir and that's suchos, the miyot will in fact occur. We have many interesting chedushim of the Munkatcher, including the fact that the Kalbin, the Chatzifin, are very prevalent in the month of Teves. He writes that's why a lot of Jewish gezeros against Yidden were in the month of Teves, and that's why the Yoim Edom of the Umay Ha'olam and Oisai Ha'ish was born specifically in the month of Teves. And I believe in Nimukei Orachayim, it's reported that the Munkatcher always breathed a sigh of relief when the month of Teves was over. So here it says, he's Abezin Pai HaKehila v'Haglilos v'Nasi Kolel Eretz HaKodesh v'Rav Meir Baal Hanes. So on the Kever already it says he was the head of the Meir Baal Hanes Tzedakah. He is the author of Shachos Minchas Eluzar and the story we mentioned before. We do have to mention that he was very intrigued by the life of a certain tzaddik in Eretz Yisrael. Who's that? The Saba Kadisha. The Saba Kadisha, Rabbi Alafandri, who lived a very long life. It's reputed, according to some, he lived 120 years. And he was also very much loichem against the inroads of more modernity. And the Minchas Eluzar yearned to meet him in Eretz Yisrael, and he he went on a Nesiyah Kadosha. It's actually a fascinating account. It was published in the 30s and again in 2004. It's called, in Hebrew I'm talking about. Talking about Masois Yerushalayim. It's called Masois Yerushalayim. And it was written by a Munkatch chassid, Rav Moshe Glatstein. It's an amazing account of the encounter of the two of them. And finally, on that occasion, while in Eretz Yisrael, the Sava Kadisha passed away. And it talks about the Minchas Eluzar, his Kabbalistic observations of Kever Rachel and the different Kivrei Yisrael and the different Tzaddikim. If you ever go to Eretz Yisrael and you want to visit Kfar Eretz Yisrael, you got to get a hold of Masois Yerushalayim. So, Minchas Eluzar, this is like a focal point. We're going to take it inside for 1 second, just to see the Shalsheles of Munkatch. Minchas Eluzar was the son of Rav Tzvi Hersh, the author of Darchei Tshuva, who is the son of Reb Shloima, I believe the Shem Shloima, who is the son of Eluzar Shapiro, who is the son of the Bnei Yissaschar. So, what? What do we have over behind there? Oh, so here also, Nusach Zet Tziva. So apparently the minhag in Munkatch was to give exactly the Nusach of the Matzeva. Leipachas Le'yosar.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.